I'm gonna sing this. If you don't sing it with me, I'll just go to a solo song and bore myself to tears. Here we go. Jackson, like the horse in this song, you will win this race. Stubble was a racehorse, and I wish he were mine. He never drank water, he always drank wine. Now sing it together. Stubble was a racehorse. Stubble was a racehorse. I wish he were mine. I wish he were mine. He never drank water. He always drank wine. He always drank wine. His bridle was silver. His bridle was silver. His mane it was gold. His mane it was gold. The worth of his saddle, the worth of his saddle has never been told. Oh, the fairgrounds were crowded, and Stubble was there, and Stubble was there. But the betting was heavy, but the betting was heavy. And the bay and the mare, and the bay and the mare, as they were approaching, about halfway around, about halfway around, the gray mare she stumbled, the gray mare she stumbled, and fell to the ground. And way out yonder, the head of them all, the head of them all, came a prancing and a dancing, noble Stubble. But I bet on the gray mare, I bet on the bay, I bet on the bay. If I'd bet on my Stubble, I'd be a free man today, be a free man today. Jack of diamonds, you jack of diamonds, jack of diamonds, I know you of old, I know you of old. You robbed my poor pocket, you robbed my poor pocket. Silver and gold, the hoot owl she hollered, the hoot owl she hollered, and the turtle dove. I'm a poor boy in trouble, I'm a poor boy in trouble, I'm a long way from home. But my Stubble was a racehorse, and I wish he were mine, and I wish he were mine. He never drank water, he always drank wine. And way out yonder, and way out yonder, ahead of them all, ahead of them all, girl prancing and dancing, in my prancing and a dancing. A noble Stewball. Stewball last night was a racehorse. Stewball was a racehorse, and I wish he were mine. And I wish he were mine. He never drank water. He never drank water. He always drank wine. I hear you singing this with me. So why was this dedicated to Jackson Browne, you might ask? And it's a good question to ask, and it's a good question for me to answer. And so I shall. But first, a napkin. Aha, there we are. Because look at who Jackson is and what he has done. In the many things of great importance, but he also, besides other things, is one of the great musical leaders of the first worldwide environmental movement, the anti-nuke movement. And he performed with Bonnie Raitt and others, and also John from Orleans. John, and he ran for Congress, and he won it in that district that included Woodstock. John and Joanna Hall, and they wrote the anthem of the first environmental movement. And in that, there are some prophetic words and thoughts. Some of them in the original lyrics, and there were some lyrics that Peter, Paul, and Mary added. And when I say prophetic, you listen to it. For instance, but I want to get back to why this is for Jackson. This is about believing in ourselves, believing in our ethic, and not being expedient about the things that matter to us. The man who bets on Stewball in this song has betrayed his love for Stewball and his belief in Stewball. I mean, it's an allegory. It's a traditional song, or maybe it's true. It's interesting because when I was teaching in the New York City public schools in a program called Learning Through Art, and I was on the board, when Marsalis was the chief performing person in it, but I went to the schools and I taught in them, which I did for my kids, starting in preschool all the way through 6th grade, when they told me, Dad, you don't have to. So anyhow, those are the ages, 12, 13, it's it. So bet on the Bay. But if I bet on old Stewball, I'd be a free man today. And one of the girls, this is 3rd grade, the girl said, I think it may be that the singer was a slave, and if he had won that money, he would have been free. That was pretty remarkable. That got to me. I thought that was great. And then there was another girl that said, I have a different idea. I think, he said, I think that what he did, he didn't bet on Stewball, he didn't bet on himself. It wasn't true to his own beliefs, his own love, his own heart. He didn't follow his heart. And that's why he's not like, if he had, he would be free in his heart. And I said, I'm with you. And have sung this song for many, most memorably for Allard K. Lowenstein, who was the extraordinary organizer, if not the best. It's no point in comparing. He was a remarkable, and he actually loved that song, and he asked that I sing it at his memorial. He sensed that he might not live much longer, and indeed he was shot. And, I mean, there's so much history, and that was what ignited Peter Paul Mary's involvement in the anti-gun movement, but at that time it was handguns. Well, in this song, the stew ball is the symbol of the thing that we believe in, and we don't compromise ourselves. You know, there was a time when the United States supported Banana Republic dictators like Batista in Cuba, and the popular way of referring to is saying, well, yes, he is a son of a bitch, a son of a gun, son of a bitch, whatever, but he's our son of a bitch. Well, in other words, you know, he's a terrible human being, but if he does our bidding, he's fine. And when you have that happening, which is happening in our country right now, where there are people who say, okay, this person should not be as a human being representing us in this way, but he's advancing our agenda. And they compromise their humanity, their values, and they know better. And when they do that, they are not free inside. And that's what stew ball is about. And we who are gathering together and singing are reaffirming that we have something that we believe in. There is something in this country. And now we've had this reset with the coronavirus, and it's very painful for a lot of people, of course. But I have, as I said, I have the straight skinny from the doctor from Cornell. I think we're going to be able to manage this much better than we thought, God willing. In the meantime, there are people like Michelle Estrick, who was in Mount Sinai, and then they tried this experimental drug, and then that was Odetta's daughter, an adopted daughter. So anyhow, that's what stew ball is, and that's why we're dedicating to Jackson Browne, because he never compromised his beliefs. He never compromised his ethic. He was brave, and he wrote about these things, and he lived them, and he put his heart out there and his life out there, and I admire him enormously, and I embrace him as a member of the family of who we are. And so, Jackson, that goes out to you. And here's the song that was the first environmental anthem, and it was written by John Hall, who became a member of Congress, and Joanna Hall. And here are the words. And I'll give you the lyric that Peter Paul Mary wrote to add to it. But I'll first sing the song then. Well, maybe Bethany wants to sing with me. Let me see. Bethany, do you want to sing with me?
Yeah, I need...
Well, come in when you can, honey.
Okay, I'm not going to be good.
All right, just come in. Okay, I am in my daughter's home in the Schoharie Valley. Here, all right, here we go. Just give me the warm flower of the sun. Give me. That's good. We are only now beginning to see. Everybody needs. I got it. All right, just getting. Just give me the warm power of the sun. Give me the steady flow of a waterfall. Give me the spirit of living things as they return to clay. Just give me the restless power of the wind. Give me the comforting glow of a wood fire. But please take all of your atomic poison power away. So that's what it was then, because it was the anti-nuke power nuke movement. But now it would be take all of your poison fossil fuel power away, and so we add that. But let me see if I can get it down. I know it'll be too high for Bethany. All right. Just give me the warm power of the sun. Give me the steady flow of a waterfall. Give me the spirit of living things as they return to clay. Just give me the restless power of the wind. Give me the comforting glow of a wood fire. But please take all of your atomic poison power away. All of your poison and fossil fuel power away. Everybody needs some power, I'm told, to keep us from the darkness and the cold. Some may see a way to take control when it's bought and sold. I know that lives are at stake, yours and mine and our descendants in time. There's so much to gain, so much to lose. Every one of us has to choose. Just give me the warm power of the sun. Give me the steady flow of the waterfall. Give me the spirit of living things as they return to clay. Just give me the restless power of the wind. Give me the comforting glow of a wood fire. But please take all of your atomic poison power, all of your poison fossil fuel power, all of your atomic poison power away. Okay, I'm going to teach you the chorus so you can sing with me, because not all of you know this. And you have to, this is the way we did it at Occupy Wall Street. Somebody would say, mic check, and everybody would repeat, mic check, because they were way out there and we didn't have a sound system. And that way they would hear what the speaker was saying, because they'd repeat each phrase. So, for instance, I would say, just give me the warm power of the sun. And you say, just give me the warm power of the sun. Give me the steady flow of a waterfall. Give me the steady flow of a waterfall. Give me the spirit of living things as they return to clay. Give me the spirit of living things as they return to clay. Just give me the restless power of the wind. Just give me the restless power of the wind. Give me the comforting glow of a wood fire. Give me the comforting glow of the wood fire. But please take all of your atomic poison power away. Please take all of your fossil fuel, poison fossil fuel power away. Okay, and now you can sing it. Now I think some of you probably feel a little silly but because you're sitting in a room and nobody else is singing, or maybe you're just sitting in the room and you're the only one there. But remember, I'm the only one here too. But I have no trouble imagining you because I'm looking at your names and I know just about every one of you. And so here we go. Let's try it. The chorus. Dun, 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 dun. Just give me the warm power of the sun. Give me the steady flow of the waterfall spirit. The spirit of living things as they return to play. Just give me the restless power of the wind. Give me the comforting glow of a wood fire. But please take all of your atomic poison power, all of your poison fossil fuel power away. This is the verse that Mary and Noel and I wrote. We are only now beginning to see how delicate the balance of nature can be. The limits of her ways have been defined, and we've crossed that line. Some don't even care or know that we'll pay, but we have seen the face of death in our day. There's so little time to change our ways. If only we together can say, just give me the warm power of the sun. Give me the steady flow of the waterfall. Give me the spirit of living things as they return to clay. Just to give me the restless power of the wind. Give me the comforting glow of wood fire. But please take all of your atomic poison power, all of your atomic poison power, all of your poison fossil fuel power away. Yes, we are only now beginning to see how delicate the balance of nature can be. The limits of her ways have been defined, and we've crossed that line. Some don't even care or know that we'll pay, but we have seen the face of death in our day. There's so little time to change our ways. If only we together can say, just give me the warm power of the sun. Give me the steady flow of a waterfall. Give me the spirit of living things as they return to play. Just give me the restless power of the wind. Give me the comforting glow of a wood fire. But please take all of your atomic poison power, all of your atomic poison power, all of your poison fossil fuel power away. So when Bethany comes here, she's got some choice words to share about this because her whole life is revolving around that. Right here, she's taken this. This is a very depressed area. She bought this place. I think it was a hunting lodge. It was a roadside inn of sorts, but it would fallen into serious disrepair, and it's a very depressed area of the country, the second most impoverished county in New York State, and she bought this place. I think it's I mean, it's huge, 20,000 square feet for $58,000, and it's on the side of a waterfall. It's called the waterfall house. And when the Kogi came here, if you know who the Kogi sacred people are, this indigenous tribe that was only recently in touch with civilization. And they, some of their high priests, priestesses came here and said, this is one of the channels between the heavens and the earth. And they said, you have to bring back the original inhabitants here, the Akwesasne, which is one of the tribes of the Mohawk. And that's what Bethany is doing. She's very involved in Native American work, and they're building a longhouse and a school, gardens and education and cultural ways. And there are some members of the tribes that are living here now, and they're in Beth's house, which is next door, which is a small, reasonable house. This is huge, and it's wonderful, and it's very funky, but lovely. And look at this wallpaper. This is actually period wallpaper that she and Sebastian, when she and Sebastian together were put up. This place was really transformed by them. So that song is as current as it might be, and of course, we're thinking about Jackson Browne and wishing him, by singing, we're wishing him our heart's energy to get better, to get well. I'm going to do Leaving on a Jet Plane now because I've been thinking about Mary. Well, I do all the time. That's just part of my life. I think about the people I love, and the more distance there is between me and my mother, for instance, who passed away 20 some years ago. The more concrete and the more I really appreciate all the things that she was that I kind of took for granted. I mean, that's what kids do. They take their parents for granted. And but she was extraordinary, and she was she's a school teacher. And I sing like a teacher. I'm actually functioning like a teacher now. It's inherited. But I want to sing Leaving on a Jet Plane because I want to sing it with you, and I want to remember Mary. And I remember very few of the bumps and the fights, the struggles that we had as all human beings do. Even the most, I'm sure, that Plato used to have fights with his sweetie, whoever that might have been. I don't know. May have been male, female, or whatever. But we had a sense of mission. And Mary, Mary was beloved. I mean, in a very special way. She'd get to an auditorium and the stagehands, she loved hanging out with them. They were enchanted by Mary. And they were the real dirt. They were the real folks. That's a term from Jack London. He called people who really were legitimate, honest, decent, struggling, hardworking people, the real dirt. Well, here, we sang a Noel, Paul Stuckey, and Noel. I wonder if Liz is on tonight. I haven't seen her, but we sent the link to her. And Noel and I sang this together at Mary's memorial. And we asked the audience to sing the melody, and we would sing our parts when we got to the chorus. And there were so many amazing people that were there. Some of them sent in videos, like Arlo Guthrie and Gloria Steinem, but Judy Collins was there, and Tom Paxson was there, and John Kerry was there, and George McGovern was there, and Dolores Huerta, who was the other leader with Cesar Chavez, and on, about 40 acts, or 40 persons who weren't acts. And it became very real. And when John Kerry got up, he said, if Mary were here, she would say, this looks like a reunion of the Nixon's enemies list. It was a tribute to Mary. It was quite an event. It was at Riverside Church in New York. So here is Mary's song, Leaving on a Jet Plane. And then I'm going to do Light One Candle. And we'll see if we can get Bethany. Okay. All my bags are packed, I'm ready to go. Standing here outside your door. I hate to wake you up to say goodbye. But the dawn is breaking, it's early morning. Oh, I didn't realize that was on. Are you dinging me, darling?
No.
Okay, will you sing with me?
Yes, I came to say.
Brenda, you are, wonderful. And Brenda, I owe you a call. I just was way back there. It's been crazy. All right, the stimulus bill has some fine, no, that we're not going to discuss. Brenda, Kenny, love you. All right, here's Bethany. Hi, Kenny. Kenny was Peter, Paul, and Mary's manager. Albert Grossman really was the one that conceived of the group and brought us together. But Kenny was starting in our, I think for 20 years he was our manager. I don't know, but he was wonderful. And now Martha Hertzberg, his associate, has been our manager forever. So we tend to have long and lasting relationships. Why is this? You're much darker than I am, but it's because of the light.
Okay.
We're not at a safe distance.
We're okay.
Okay. I think this is Mary's scheme.
I'm standing here outside your door. I hate to wake you up to say goodbye. But the dawn is breaking, it's early morning. The taxi's waiting, he's blowing his horn. Already I'm so lonesome I could cry. So kiss me and smile for me. Tell me that you'll wait for me. And hold me like you'll never let me go.
Leaving on a jet plane.
'Cause I'm leaving on a jet plane. I don't know when I'll be back again. Oh, babe, I hate to go. There's so many times let you down, so many times. I tell you now, they don't mean a thing. 'Cause every place I go,
Every place
of you, every song I
sing
for you. When I come back, I'll wear your wedding ring.
Kiss me and smile.
So kiss me and smile for me, and tell me that you'll wait for me, and hold me like you'll never let me go. 'Cause I'm leaving when I'll be back again. Oh, baby, I hate to go.
Now the time
Has come to leave you one more time. Let me kiss you, then close your eyes. I'll be on my way.
about the day.
Oh, but dream about the days to come. I won't have to be alone. About the time I won't have to say, oh, kiss me and smile for me, and tell me that you'll wait for me, and hold me like you'll never let me go.
Never let me go.
'Cause I'm leaving on a jet plane. I don't know when I'll be back again. I'm leaving on a jet plane.
I'm
Don't know
leaving
when I'll
on
be
a
back.
jet plane.
I'm leaving
And
on
I'll
a
be
jet
back
plane.
again.
I don't know when I'll be back again. Oh, babe, I hate to go.
Oh, Mary, oh, we hate to see you go. Yay! Elbows. Okay, I know. Oh, look, 14 people said sing it again. You were singing. There was a great picture. I wish I could show it to you. Well, we could bring your computer and show it to me. There was a great picture that you saw that, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wonderful. It's Leslie Kirsch's and Dr. Peter Shields' daughter, I believe, from Pittsburgh. Well, in any event, Kenny, are you there? Let me see. I know, Brenda, you're there. Is Kenny okay? You know what? You got to lay off of that, close stuff that you do. This is in the time of love, in the time of Carnival. Where are we? Okay, let me see. Charmaine St. John. Oh, I got to call Michael Butler. I'm sorry, I forgot. It's just been a little crazy. Now, this is something, this is very good. Bethany has a beautiful voice. How dare you speak to my daughter that way? Thank you. Robert Corwin got a Facebook friend request from Ken just this week. Right. All right. And Bob Storley and Paul Nestor. You look the same. Paul, you made it. Nestor. What do you mean she looks the
I
same?
have a few more gray hairs.
So I was singing you may have heard it in the other room, the power song.
Mm-hmm.
And I told them that you would, what you were doing here very briefly about this, to create something here that would be precedential. I think it's unknown at what you're doing. I would love you to talk a little bit about that, and then we'll do Light One Candle. Okay?
Okay.
I wish I could hug you and kiss you. This is the most time I've ever spent with my daughter, and I've been able to give her a hug and a kiss. It's really, really difficult. I'm not disciplined in this way, but we've been observing it because, the stakes are high. But as I said, I'm going to send you this proceeds that was sent to me by Linda Carroll. All right, I want to turn it over to Bethany, and then we will sing Light One Candle. Are you still there, Larry Moses? Are you there? And I don't know if you're there still because I want to dedicate it to you. But if you're not there, I'm not going to dedicate it to you. I'll dedicate it to you when I sing it again when you're there. Otherwise, I have other people. I've Paul Nestor and I've Elliot Klum. Don't think you're the only rabbinical kind of guy that I. All right, here we go. So if you're there, text us or Susan Steinman. Okay, go for it. Larry Moses.
Yes.
Okay, go for it, sweetheart. I'm gonna give you the.
Oh, we can share this.
No, just for the moment while you're speaking.
Well, I don't know that it's unprecedented. I was talking about it a little bit the other concert last night, I think. But just to encapsulate, I'm here in Mohawk territory in upper state New York at the Waterfall House. And I've been following really the prayer of this water and this waterfall since I bought the house 20 years ago. And I've really been caretaking this place. And over the years, there have been many different elders, indigenous elders from all over the world who have come and really helped me with an understanding and a recognition of the power and the importance of this waterfall as a sacred site on these Mohawk territories. So 9 years ago now, really first had Mohawk elders come to this land and put down prayers and ceremonies for all of the ancestors here who have gone on. This is also the site of, a lot of bloodshed and a lot of historical trauma that is still in the land itself. And the understanding that I have, and both on a spiritual level and also just on a practical scientific level, if you look at the Drawdown book, for example, which is Paul Hawken's book that outlines the 100 most important solutions to climate change and to actually not just, here we go, edited by Paul Hawken. Here's the book. It's Drawdown by Paul Hawken. And so many of the solutions in this book that are outlined are land-based, agriculture-based, soil-based, and also indigenous-based. Indigenous people, I think, are 4% of the world's population right now, and they are protecting 80% of the world's biodiversity. So it is really very important to recognize that fact, to support indigenous knowledge, indigenous wisdom, indigenous understanding of land management, of reciprocal relationship with the earth, and understand that kind of the original sin of our country and the dominion and the domination and the extraction of wealth continues to this day. And it's important to reverse that. And as my dad says, in Lift Us Up, that song he wrote, to go back, and we actually have the power right now to right the wrongs. We have the power, it's in all of our power, wherever we are, to go back to that wound, to say, I'm sorry, and to do what we can to make it right. And so because of where I am, it is actually in my power to give this land back, to give back the guardianship of this sacred site that I have been taking care of for these last 20 years. And so we started the Three Sisters Sovereignty Project to reclaim and give back the sovereignty to some Mohawk relatives who are coming back to farm the land, to work in collaboration with local residents, and to really provide a model of what restorative justice can look like, of what collaborative work can look like in terms of working on with the land, and how do we move through this time of transition in a good way, because we have to create models of a shared livable future. So I'm giving back, 10 plus acres, and I've just been on the phone looking for grants and with, local land trusts and putting together renewable energy projects and really envisioning what a different future can look like. So, at some point you can go and Google the Three Sisters Sovereignty Project and you'll hear more about it. But I'm in the other room with my Mohawk sister on the phone, and we're really using this time to really dig deep and plant seeds. We just passed the new moon, and the new moon is the time to plant new seeds, plant new prayers and new intentions. And so we are literally creating gardens and hoop houses and an educational longhouse and ways to teach about the great law and the original principles that guide us all, really. So to go back to those original instructions, that is that's the project. That's what we're doing. And so in this sense of light one candle and keeping the faith and the dream alive, all of us going back to our original selves. And in this time of, there's a lot of darkness, but keeping that candle and that flame of faith and miracles alive is really the essence for me of what's going to get us through this time. And because without that, we have nothing.
All right. And I'm going to comment on that in a bit, but I want to sing the song first. And this is a song that Mary and Noel Paul asked me to write. It fell on the third or the fourth concert that we did at Carnegie Hall as a benefit for the New York Choral Society, which is a... what happened?
I'm just going to give the link if people want to know about it.
Oh, you can do that, huh?
Yes, you can type hi.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you have your own way. Well, the only...
How come you know the link?
No, this Three Sisters song.
I see, okay. What I should do in the future is give them... Well, I know they've got... Okay, so it fell on the third night of Hanukkah.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a Christmas concert that we were doing. And it was in the tradition of the Weavers' Christmas concert, because we fashioned ourselves to be the inheritors of that tradition. And we would sing Christmas songs. And then when it fell on the third night of Hanukkah, Mary, who was very engaged in the world of Jewishness, although she was literally a daughter of the American Revolution, she came to me with Noel and they said, Peter, you're the Jew in the group. You have to write us a Hanukkah song. Dreidel, dreidel, dreidel ain't gonna cut it. And so there's a whole story. And I don't want to tell it now, but I will tell it again at some point. But this is a song, and then I'll sing it, and then I'll connect this song to what Bethany was saying, and also to the environmental movement, because we're living, my friends, in a very powerfully frightening, but also very promising prophetic time.
I'll say.
There's a reset where all of a sudden, many of the things that we're singing about are naturally coming into people's consciousness as they stop consuming all the time, as they stay together and they don't chase the golden ring of false values and
illusion.
The illusion of unearned fame as being something to pursue, and material things as something that will give one great and lasting satisfaction compared to what we get as human beings. And the human beings are reasserting, and the blue sky is in China, and the fish, and etc. And people are connecting, and thank you for being on the phone. Okay, here we go. Light one candle for the Maccabee children, with thanks that their light didn't die.
Light one candle for the pain we endure, when their right to exist was denied.
And light one candle for the terrible sacrifice justice and freedom demand.
And light one candle for the wisdom to know when the peacemaker's time is at hand.
Don't let the light go out. It's lasted for so many years. Don't let the light go out. Let it shine through our love and our tears. Don't let the light go out. It's lasted for so many years. Don't let the light
go out.
Let it shine through our love and our tears. Light one candle for the strength that we need to never become our own foe.
Light one candle for those who are suffering pain we learned so long ago.
Light one candle for all we believe in, that anger not tear us apart. But light one candle for the wisdom to know when the peacemakers come. Light one candle
to bind us together with peace as the song in our heart.
Don't let the light go out. It's lasted for so many years.
Don't let the light go out. Let it shine through our love and our tears.
What is the memory that's valued so highly that we keep it alive in that flame?
And what's the commitment to those who have died when we cry out they've not died in vain?
And we have come this far, always believing that justice will somehow prevail. And this is the burden, and this is the promise, and this is why we will not fail.
Don't let the light go out.
It's lasted for so many years.
Don't let the light go out. Let it shine through our love and our tears. Don't let the light go out. It's lasted for so many years. Don't let the light go out. Let it shine through our love and our tears. Don't let the light go out. Don't let the light go out. Don't let the light go out. Hey.
Okay, Larry Moses, my dear friend, whom I've not spoken to for so long, and there's so much to catch up on.
And also I want to just
Susan
say
Steinman, yes.
that the peacemaker's time is at hand. The peacemaker was the name of the prophet who came to the Mohawks as well, who were the ones who had them bury the hatchet and said, war is not the answer anymore, and we need a new great law of peace. And so the symbol of the white pine is the symbol of the tree of the great tree of life and also the great tree of peace, and that's where they buried their weapons. So his name was the peacemaker. And so he was a very Jewish kind of guy.
It was, as a matter of fact, from what I understand. And before then, the tribes were mercilessly at war with one another, from what I understood. Do you know when that occurred? Was that like in the 1800s?
No, it was more like in the 1100s.
Oh.
So they, by the time the settlers, the colonial, the ships arrived, they had a very advanced form of democracy here.
Right. That's what we were talking about the other night.
Yeah.
Now, let me give you some thoughts about this. think about this second verse. The second verse, I mean, it's so applicable to now. It says, light one candle for the strength that we need to never become our own foe. What is happening in this country? Look at this division, this vitriol, this hatred. Look at Israel, where the division within the country is considered by many, and Uri Regev from Hadush, though he's fighting against this with Jew against Jew and hierarchy, and this Jew has more rights than that Jew, and he's the main organizer of that, and throughout the world now, the strength that we need to not become our own foe, American against American, human being against human being, in the final analysis. Light one candle for those who are suffering pain we learned so long ago. We, because it's a Hanukkah song about, the Jews, that refers to pain we learned as people in exile.
Mm-hmm.
And my parents, your dear grandmother and Bernard Yarrow, were allowed into the country the way we are not allowing these people at the border to come in now. And we who are humane, and particularly in this song, we are Jewish, how can we, having been deprived of this and then let into this country, not allow others to do what we could do? I wouldn't be proud. I don't know if my parents would have been alive had they not managed to get here. My mother, when she was 3 in 1906. My father when he was 16, and he was born in 1900. And then it says, light one candle for the strength that we need to light one candle for those who are suffering pain we learn, we as Jews learn. Light one candle for all we believe in. Let anger not tear us apart. What do we believe in? What we believe in is destroyed by this internecine vitriol, anger, animosity, and hatred. But light one candle to bind us together with peace as the song in our hearts. This is a song for our time. Don't let the light go out. It's lasted for so many years. Don't let this light go out. Let it shine through our love and our tears, because it is within the domain of our hearts being touched that the essence of who we are, whether it's love or tears, whether it's tears of joy or tears of sorrow. So
we love you, Penny. If you're listening, I love you.
Penny, yeah, right. So, and Barry Nicholsberg, who's also there, who's a Chazan, who is also took over that. He's my very, very good friend from the Carter Center, who could do everything. He also told me that I have to drink a lot of liquid. I've been doing that because he was a paramedic, and he does everything. He's in charge of the legacy gifts at the Carter Center. He's amazing, and he interprets sound, sign language interpreting brilliantly, the best. So I hope Jenny is there with you, my brother, and I'm sending her my love. So
did we know what he was doing?
Pardon me?
With that. Too
What?
much of nothing.
Too much
Line
of
of least resistance.
Oh, that's an interesting song to think of. That's okay. That's a good song. But I want to make one quick more point that links this. Look, this I'm liking this to the time. Oh, that's too bright. There's something I have to move into the. Yeah, let me move a little more. There. Now, okay. This is a prophetic time because I'm likening this to the plague of locusts, or any of the plagues. We've had the plagues. We've had a lot of plagues. We have these storms, and we have the droughts, and we have the fires, and now we've got this, and it's like a series of plagues, like Jackie Gamache from the JCC, who was there, a wonderful organizer out in San Diego. So she was saying, we're living in the time of this, but here, what is the plague, and who is it trying to free us from? The plague is the Pharaoh is materialism and greed, and those that enslave human beings, and who keep slaves, and how we are enslaving ourselves. It is we who have caused this imbalance in the world, and the earth is crying out to right itself. And it's saying, if you don't do that, Pharaoh being materialism and greed and cruelty and inequity, vast inequity, you will be visited with more. You will suffer more. It feels like that to me. And, I'm not prone to dwell in the land of religious prophecy. It's not my background, but I'm telling you, I'm feeling this. Not that it's a religion, it's a reality. And I don't distinguish between Mother Earth and Creator and any other description of that which we can't see and understand. So what Bethany is doing here is we will not be saved because some great force has writes an Emancipation Proclamation to say this is all over. Okay, it's going to take all of us to change, and what hasn't changed is our ways of being. We have to do what we've been trying at Operation Respect to inculcate in people. We have to respect, we have to listen to, we cannot hate simply because we disagree politically. That's false, and it's synthetic. We have to allow ourselves to reclaim our humanity. And in Bethany's telling, when the Kogi came here, they said, this is one of the channels. And they said, you have to allow the sacred sites and the sacred people to be restored, restorative justice. And that's a very complex thought, but I'm not thinking of this as just being, oh, this is another phase, man, it goes up and down. We're talking about the survival of the things we love, the planet, democracy. We're talking about whether the world is going to be governed by fear or by love. And we're talking about whether or not we are going to pull together. And the more we do it in this way, the way we're doing it tonight, in this little way, the more there is a resonance and a ripple effect, because we're reinforcing this in each other. And I'm invoking Peter Polnary, I'm invoking the 60s and that spirit of the 60s, not everything in the 60s, but the part of the 60s that was filled with the stew ball ideals. Okay, so let's see if we can do this.
Or we can woke up this morning with my mindset on freedom, because we're working to free our minds from slavery. Either one, both of them.
Okay, well, let me see.
Doing both.
Okay, I woke up this morning with my mind on it, set on freedom. Whoa, I woke up this morning with my mind. It was set on freedom. This morning with my mind.
Set on freedom. Hallelujah. 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 mind loaded in set on freedom. I'm singing and praying with my mind. It is set on freedom. I'm singing and praying with my mind. It is set on freedom. Hallelujah. 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 This morning with my mind set on freedom.
And in my mind it is set on freedom.
Oh, did you wake up this morning with your mind? Was it set on freedom? Did you wake up this morning with your mind? Was it set on freedom? Hallelujah. 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 Did you wake up this morning with your mind? Was it set on the free?
I'm singing, oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom over me.
Well, before I let my mind be enslaved, I will be buried in my grave. I will go home to my Lord. I will be free.
I say no more cotton. No more picking cotton. No more picking cotton out for me.
I'll be a slave. I'll be buried in my grave. I'll go home to my Lord. I'm free.
No more option. No more option. No more. No more option. No more auction block for me. And before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave. And I go home to my Lord, and I'll be free. I'm saying this and I know I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, yes, it is.
For this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine.
I'm gonna let it
For
shine.
this little light of mine,
I'm gonna let it shine.
let it shine,
Let it shine.
let it shine,
Let it shine.
I let it shine.
Well, I'm on my way,
And I'm on my way,
and I won't turn back.
and I won't turn back.
I'm on my way,
I'm on my way,
and I won't turn
and I won't turn back.
I'm on my way,
Oh, and I won't turn back. I'm on my way. Thank God I'm on my way.
I'm on my way
And I'm on my way
to the freedom land.
to freedom land.
I'm on my way,
I'm on my way.
mighty. I'm on my way. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey.
Okay, we've been singing and singing and singing. I think that's enough for the night, but we're just having a good time here in the very important ways in which people, as we go through this painful time, because there is suffering with this, there is no doubt.
There's trouble in mind.
Yeah, trouble in my mind. But as we go through this, there's also the celebration that we can do, and the love, and the heart, and the reconstruction. And I can think of no better way than singing together to do that. So thank you for singing. I heard you singing. You sang, love you all. Yes. That's right. I feel the same way. So thank you all. Thank you. Oh, there's Jillian Trumbull again. Barry.
Jillian, we love you.
And when Bethany channels
Etta James.
It's actually Odetta. But it could be Etta James as well. It's something. And Valentina, did you know that Anya is Anya with whom we went to Hawaii for that? Yeah, I have to get informed. Laura Parker Reardon, Anya, Valentina. Do you ever sing with your mom? Yes, and grandfather. It'd be fun. Do you? Yes, after the she
maybe
is
she
13.
could do "Where Are My Rainbows"?
Yeah, that's right, but not in
the 6 feet.
Yes, not in the 6, and then it won't really work. But she took that picture that I posted today from the car. Mm-hmm. Did you see the car photo? It's so beautiful because she's learning to drive, and Mary Beth is shepherding her. Well, it's okay as long as she's in the car doing it. And Christopher, I go home to my Lord and be free, yes. And Holly Bryan, you sweetheart, you're in my heart, thoughts and prayers. And Gage, is that George and
Beth Gage?
Oh,
Beth. George and I are sending her.
Oh, yay! All right, now let me see who else that we haven't said hello to. Trudy, yes, thank you, and Danny Sign. Oh my goodness, our rabbi who presided. I mean, he was Peter Paul Mary's rabbi, absolutely. And Mary, and he went with Danny. She went with Danny and David Saperstein to Russia and sang for the refusenic Jews. And Danny held the service. Mary was buried in a Jewish ceremony and in a plain wooden box, which is the Jewish tradition. We did have a little bit of ecumenicalism because Riverside Church is where we have a big deal.
I love you all.
Okay, but we got to do a little Puff the Magic Dragon to say goodbye. Okay. Oh, Mary Beth is on. Mary Beth, I love you. I wrote that song one day. It was when we got married. And when I heard you say we would be together, and strange as it seems, that's exactly what happened when we got married. That's really what it means to make that Puff the Magic Dragon lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Anarchy. You know what Ken Fritz is saying? Now they're singing together because he has those ears. And before, because I don't have time to warm up or I did a few exercises, but as we sing, we get our voices together. Okay, we're starting the concert now. Puff the magic dragon lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Harmony. Together they would
travel on a boat with billows sail.
Jackie kept
A lookout perched on Puff's gigantic tail. Noble kings and princes
would bow whenever they came.
Pirate ships would lower their flags with Puff rolled out his name.
Oh, Puff,
the magic dragon lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Harmony.
oh, Puff,
The magic dragon lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Harmony.
the dragon lives forever, but not so little girls and boys.
Painted wings, gliding strings, make way for other toys.
One gray night it happened, Jackie Paper came no more.
So Puff, that mighty dragon,
He ceased his fearless voice and his bitterness.
his head was bent in sorrow. Green scales fell like rain.
Puff no longer went to play along the cherry lane
Without his lifelong friend,
Puff
Puff could not be brave. So Puff, that mighty dragon, sadly slipped into his cave. Oh, Puff, the magic dragon lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Harmony. Puff, the magic dragon
the magic dragon
by the
lived
sea
by the sea
and frolicked in the autumn mist
in a land
called
I think we're going to see you tomorrow. And thank you for being with us. Don't you think they're awfully lovely?
They're awfully
They are.